You know, I wish we could say, oh, this is going to be blah, 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 blah. And it could be anywhere, and it probably work, whatever. Not too good, okay? Very flexible, low-grade top. But how's it look? Well, it's got tight grain, but there's no silking in it because it's off the quarter, okay? The grain runs like this in it. Why did this get made? Well, maybe to show somebody something, okay? But it's very rubbery. How would it sound? It would reinforce the lower end of the register, be a little bassy, wouldn't be clear, very muddy, and have virtually no high-end sparkle whatsoever. And it would be, you know, a under $500 guitar somewhere, I would think. Maybe a $1,000 guitar. It used to be, when I made guitars, people would say, oh, you make them, do you play? And that was as far as the conversation would go. And I went, I kind of like making them, you know, but they didn't care. And a lot of people asked what I did for a living. I said, well, not much, I make guitars. Something about a guitar, you know, you sit down and strum that guitar, it's a good deal, it's a good thing. It's made of wood. Wood is a constant variable. It's pretty, it's fun to work with, but the most important thing is how you treat that wood, how you alter that to bring the guitar out of the wood. Wow. Where's your chisel? It's not just going through the motion of construction. And every guitar you listen to and you adjust the thickness, and you make your next guitar and you do it again, and you make your next guitar and you do it again. And you go, oh, this is easy, we just make this. Well, it doesn't work. You have to constantly adjust. Now, is that a mistake, or is that just, you know, is that planning?
Beats a desk job, that's for sure. I think there's a lot to be said for people who actually make things. Especially things that are, you know, have quality to them. You need to travel back and see older places, you know, when they made guitars. See how they sounded when they were new. You know. Did a Stradivarius sound really good when it was first built? Maybe.
Oh, the Martins and the Coys, they were reckless mountain boys, but old Grandpa Coy is gone where angels live. When they found him on the mountain, he was breathing like a fountain.
Steel strings were relatively new. You got to remember, they started in, what, 27 or so. So there's not like 300 years of history in a steel string guitar, but there is great history on them. There's the 30s and the 40s, and seeing all those guitars and seeing the ones that were good really showed me a lot on what guitars should be. Well, at least could be.
'Cause since Grace and Henry wedded, they fight worse than all the rest did, and they carry on the feud just like before.
Craftsmanship in the 30s was real strong. Most people did everything by hand. They were trained as apprenticeships to be craftsmen of some sort. And after the war, we learned how to make stuff faster. Okay, there was a lot of mechanization and ways to improve speed of making stuff. So a lot of jobs were being phased out. You needed to go to school so you didn't have to work with your hands. You could sit at the desk. And all that led to some of the artier jobs is kind of going away. When I was a kid, they were phasing out shop classes, but when my father was a kid, that was one of the strongest parts of school, was going to shop class, because there was a great chance that any one of those kids was going to end up in a shop somewhere. But by the time I went to school, there was no shop class. Because of it, less and less people know how to build things. I've always built stuff because I've loved it. Okay, I grew up as a family of engineers, and we just made stuff, and be cars, go-karts, whatever it might be. Today, not many people have the skills anymore to work with woodworking machinery. So we're losing our hand skills. Machines, they can go through the motions of making a guitar, but it's more like a guitar-shaped object. It's not really a great guitar. Your best guitars are the ones that were humanly manipulated to be a great guitar.
When I get the wood, it's just a pretty much straight piece of wood, and I take it using just heat and water and kind of create the side of the guitar, which is what makes it a guitar, what makes it recognizable as being the shape of a guitar. People don't really think about how wood actually comes from a tree into being this shape. And it's kind of, I don't know, maybe a little mystical process. And I feel pretty fortunate to know that process and know how to do it.
I think once it bites you, it hooks you hard, and the world seems to stop, you know, when you have some compulsion or obsession, and it doesn't matter as much, so you can do, you know, get into it a little bit more. That was number 995, that guitar. Isn't that funny? Didn't make it. You like that, Tommy? Huh?
Yes.
Can't see it.
Yeah, no.
So when guitars go out of here and people are playing them, it's like a part of me that they're playing, because everybody puts their heart and soul into it, and when they play them, they're putting their heart and soul into them. 100 years down the road, hopefully, it's still being played, and it sounds better than ever. And maybe one point, you know, our names will come up. I don't know.
That they end up in other people's hands, and they love them as much as we love them. That's probably the coolest. But when a guitar comes back and it was abused, like it sat in a hot car or something like that, we kind of get mad at that customer, and because we put too much work in that. But when they're worn, well played, it's great. That's the best looking guitar there is out there. It's one that has a patina that human wore down, and that's a good looking guitar. That's when they're right. Hopefully they're all good guitars. You know, if they all find a home, they're all great guitars. I always liked Lovin' Spoonful, and that would have been put me right around 14 or 15 years old. So just tons of them. Kinks, The Who, all that stuff. I mean, those are my heroes back then, and John Sebastian, all those people that I've mentioned, they all play my guitars. So times have turned, yeah. It was good stuff. Talking about my generation. don't play much guitar. Not at all. But I do want to someday. I always have, you know. You know, I mean, there's a need for guitars in my life. It's been there. If I came out of the chute and I was an awesome guitar player, that might have been different, but I wasn't. It never came easy to me. It was hard. I would play a G chord and the next person would be playing notes with that chord, you know, but I'm still playing that G chord. And, but making stuff came easy to me, very easy to me. My name is Bill Collings and I'm a guitar maker.